Good morning everyone, welcome to my channel. This video is going to be how to make a little pouch out of all your doily scraps. So I've had plans to make this video for a little while and just haven't had time. And this coming Saturday, like today is Friday, so Saturday, tomorrow night, I have a going away / 21st birthday to go to. My cousin is going off to London to be a paramedic. So I've gone out and purchased a pendant for her, and I was wrapping the little parcel up with some cellophane and a little bit of lace, and I was thinking, I wonder if I've got time to make her something in addition, because she loves sewing and she's just started hand sewing and sort of fiddling around with some little projects, and we've spent a bit of time together doing that. So I thought, and this is what happens in the wee hours of the morning, that would I have enough time to quickly make this little pouch and pop the little piece of jewellery inside. So she could use it for whatever, but she could also add jewellery into this little pouch as well. So I thought I might as well turn my camera on, and I was going to make it with you guys anyway in the coming weeks, but it's a bit of a rush project and we'll see what we can pull off in the time frame we have. So I've grabbed a heap of doilies. I've grabbed the seam binding that we're going to need on the side, which is just some strips of calico or muslin if you're in America. I've grabbed some buttons, and I need a feature piece here of some description. And I've been making scrappy butterflies, flowers and hearts in previous videos, and I've got this little butterfly. I went through my little basket of tricks to see, you know, what I had. It may change to another one. We'll see sort of how the piece comes together, but I'm thinking the little butterfly can be attached to the little pouch. So anyway, long story short, I've turned the camera on. I'm going to show you how I make this. It's really simple. There are heaps of videos out there where these are made. So it's nothing new. It's just sort of my version of a favorite little pouch of mine. Perfect for putting little gifts in for someone, just to, you know, make it a little bit more special. So what have I done so far? I have created the base fabric, which is going to have all of the decorative stitching on. Now this piece of fabric is, let me measure it, it's usually around the size of an A4 piece of paper, but for measurement sizes, so that's about 13.5 inches by 8 inches. And then I plan to fold it in 3 folds, sort of like a trifold, if you will. The first fold is at the 5-inch mark, and the second fold is around the 3-inch mark. Now, when you do fold it, leave a bit of a gap here so that it doesn't bash into this top edge. So there's probably about 1/2 inch space here before I do that 3-inch fold. So let me just go through that again if you did want to make it. So fold it at the 5-inch and then fold at the 3-inch. So nice and simple. Then all you're going to do is piece on the, let me grab the big doily here, piece onto the fabric all the trims that you would like to use. So I'm using all these little doilies, just finding the right size, and just collaging random pieces everywhere. So don't overthink it, just pop them on, and then we'll turn the piece into the little pouch and make sure that we like the position of all the little doilies. So I've sort of picked random ones, lots of different ones. So let's just see how that looks first of all. And I'm going to pop a few pins in. Let me just adjust that a little bit so you can sort of see what I've done there. I'm just going to pin them. Then I'm going to fold it up to see how that looks. And if I'm happy with that, I'm just going to stitch them all down. It's nice and simple. It is a quick little project. You can spend hours on it, making it more elaborate. But I'm just going to keep it nice and simple and stitch them straight down. So let's have a little look at that. We'll turn it over. Now up comes the bottom flap. So that will look like that. Yeah, it's not too bad. I might just pop another pin there to hold that. I think I've pinned it shut now, so we don't want that. Okay. And then that will come over like so. Pin that one down. So now you can sort of see how the doily pouch is going to take shape, and then adjust it if you're not liking how it looks. Now I think that is looking pretty good. The butterfly will go on the very end. Once I've created the whole pouch, I'll then slip stitch him in because I want him to feel, you know, 3D and textured sitting on top. So I'm liking how that is. Might just pop another doily there. Yeah. I do want some spaces around so that I can do a little bit of slow stitching, some burrow stitch or some seed stitch. I'm a bit of a fan of seed stitch, so I'll definitely be doing a bit of that. Yeah, I'm liking that. Let me just pin that a little bit more. These last minute projects, if I put more thought into it, I probably would have had this done weeks ago, but just busy. And then yesterday I went out. It was late night shopping here, the Thursday night. So flew down to the shops to buy a piece of jewellery for her because I had in mind that I did want to have some jewellery as a gift. You know what? I'm not liking this doily. I'm going to axe the doily. I'm going to get rid of that. It just isn't suiting it as much as I thought it would. So I'm going to start again. Let's get rid of the butterfly. Let's open this up. And I'm just going to do a collage of all of these little doily pieces. They're beautiful in their own right. That is just not doing it, I don't think. So now, that's it. We'll pop a few more on because I've got plenty here. There's so many. Okay. Oh yeah, now I'm liking it. Look, they're all so different. That one we've used. That one we've used. He's there. That one we haven't used. What else have we got here? Used him, yep. Got some little ones. We won't use pink. We'll keep it very neutral. I do like that guy too, but we'll see how we're looking. We can always readjust. At the moment, it's just pop them all down, put a pin in them, fold up your little pouch into the shape that it will end up being, and then go from there. So that little guy, he was flipping around there. So he's not actually used, so that gives me another one. That's very same there. So I've popped this little guy in the middle there just to break it up a little bit, and then pin that one down there. Now you can use scrap pieces of fabric, you can use laces. This one is all about doilies, so I'm loving that. It's like a collage of doilies. Now let's just flip it over, fold up the bottom of the pouch. Oh, I'm liking that. And then fold down the top. Yeah, that's looking good. Did I not pin that one? Oh, goodness me. I'm sure Maddison, who will be getting this, will be watching this having a giggle now, thinking, that's looking like a hot mess. But trust me, it will all come together. Maddie is off on such an epic journey. It's a shame to lose her, especially now she's a trained paramedic to another country, but what can you do? We just don't have enough positions for our trained ambulance staff here in Australia. We keep training them, but we don't seem to have enough hospitals or trucks to put them in. So we are losing them to overseas hospitals, but at the end of the day, we're all together on this planet. So if you can use our Maddie, lucky you, she's a good girl. All right, I think I've got it secured now. Let's have a little look. So let's fold that up. I am loving that. Fold that one over. See how simple this is? Really, really simple. And then the little butterfly will nestle in there. Yeah, I'm loving it. Really, really good. So I've got plenty of room for the binding at the side, which is just strips of this muslin ripped. I want it really fray and textural looking. So that is 1 inch, which should be more than enough to go around the sides of the little pouch, which I'll show you at the very end, but you will need some, actually, I have wider muslin here as well. I don't think I'll need it that wide, but oh, maybe I will. I like it quite chunky. I just grabbed a heap of scraps and these were in my basket. So this muslin is actually torn at 1.5 inches. We'll make the decision when we get to the binding, but we'll stitch all this down and then we'll see sort of what size we think we need for the binding, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. So at the moment, it's just a case of prepping the pretty top of the pouch. Now on the inside of the pouch, I've grabbed a piece of fabric that I think will be suitable, and it was just a scrap, so it's a little bit bigger than what I need, but we'll cut that down to size. So that will be on the inside. So when you flip the lid, that's what you'll see. So let's assume that that's all torn down to size. So that'll be the look, and that'll be on the inside of the pouch. So it should be really pretty. So we'll just leave that to one side as well. That's a step later on. So is the binding. At the moment, it is sewing. So it's going around and doing some tiny little stitches to secure this to the panel. And then I can have a think about all of my gaps and what I wish to do in there. So it might be some running stitch, it might be some seed stitch. We'll sort of see how it sort of comes together. Okay, I'm going to stop the video here. So I'll come back in a few moments and show you what I did with the rest of the stitching, and then we'll start the process of putting the little pouch together. So it'll be only a few seconds for you, but it'll probably be an evening. So I'm on a bit of a tight deadline. So what's today? Friday morning. So I've got to go to work. So tonight I'll stitch this down, and then tomorrow morning I'll turn the camera back on, show you where I'm at and the next stage, and then stitch again, and hopefully have it all ready to finish the video with you guys, and then toddle off to the party and give her her little gift. Okay, so I'll be back in a moment. Bye. Hello everyone, I'm back. Okay, so I spent the evening stitching and my front piece is completed. So all I did to recap is stitch all of the little doily pieces down just with a small little stitch using just simple cotton that you would put through your sewing machine. I then went back with some crocheting cotton, and this is the one I selected. Not 100% sure on its size, but this one was one I did consider, and it's a little bit thicker, but it was the colour that ended up choosing this one. So it doesn't really matter what thickness you use, it's whatever sort of your preference is. So then I went through and just did some little stitching details in the gaps between the doilies. I did seed stitch. I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see. I did seed stitch up the top there where my thumb is. I then did some burrow stitch, just following the shape of the doily. In the center is some more seed stitch, some little cross stitches. Over here, some little bullion stitches, some seed stitch, and some more burrow and seed at the end here. So I then went through and embellished with some buttons. Now this button here is going to be used to secure the little tie around. So I worked out the position that needed to be. So he's ready to go. You can stitch him on at the end, but while I can access the back of the fabric without having to worry about this lining, I'd recommend that you do work out the position needed for that little one. Now, I also had a piece of stamped fabric, so I decided to stitch the word love on, and then added another button, and then did a little, I don't know if you can see it, a little bow through the buttonhole to secure it, and then just couched a few little stitches here and there just to hold that into position so it didn't flop around. Okay, so the next stage is to cut the lining, and I'm still going to use this piece. So I'm going to put the right side out, so wrong sides together is how you would say it, so that you have a nice lining when it flips open or you look in, you can see the fabric. So wrong sides together. I am going to pop a couple pins in because from this stage I'm going to go straight into the binding, and I don't want anything to wriggle around, so I might as well pop a couple pins in, and we'll cut the fabric to size. Okay, just to make sure nothing wriggles around. Now I'm just going to cut this. You could tear it down, but this fabric is soft and is not easy to tear, so I won't be able to do that this time. So I'm just going to need my scissors. One thing I don't know if I mentioned yesterday, when you stitch your doilies down into position, I left them unstitched around the outer edge. So whenever they came close to the edge, like there, I left that unstitched because I might want the doily to sit on top of the binding, or it may tuck under the binding. So depending on the doily and when I get to that sort of location, what I decide to do. But I thought at least if they were left unstitched, I'd have the option to drift the doily onto the binding or not. Okay, so that's our piece ready to go. Now I did have some scraps of calico here ready to go that I thought might be the right size, and then there was a smaller piece in amongst it as well. Both of them are not the right size, so I ended up having a closer look at my original one and worked out that I need a piece that is sort of in between. So that's the sizing I need. So where's my ruler? Let's have a little look. Hello Fudge. So I'm going to say it is 1 1/4 is about what you need. So that can be cut down to suit. So 1 1/4. So I'm just going to do a little snip on this larger piece. Now there's only 2 here I can actually use because they're too short. So those 2 I can use, but for the side pieces they're too short, so I won't be able to use any of those. I will have to get some more calico when I comes down to do the side pieces, I think. Actually, no, you fold the pocket up, so they will be okay. So it's okay. There you go. It's been probably 12 months since I've made one of these, so I'm sort of having to remember everything I have done. So the next step is to put the binding on the top and bottom, the short sides of our piece. So all I'm going to do there is I've got my piece to size and I've folded it in half and just using my fingernail creased it so that it is in half. You can iron your piece if you want it to be more thorough, but finger creasing will be more than enough. So can you see that? And I'm just popping it over the edge so that neatens up the edge, ready to be stitched down. So you're going to do both ends. Let's spin that around so I can see what I'm doing a bit better. So that's got a little bit extra fabric there too. I'm going to trim that a little bit better. It'll throw the sizing out on the little purse if it's not. The backing fabric was a little bit bigger than the top. So that's a bit better. So we're just going to line that up into the crease and pin it. Now you can use your sewing machine to whiz around the outside of this to secure it, just straight through, which is a lot quicker. But I do have a little bit of time. I'm going to now bring that doily. I said I didn't secure them. I'm going to bring that doily up so that it sits on top of that, like so, just as a little added extra. Some will tuck under, some will be on top, but being that's got such a pretty edge, I'm going to make it a little feature. Okay, so that is ready to stitch. Now on my original one I did 3 rows of running stitch, which I think I'll do the same because I like the look that it gave, but you could do any sort of stitching along there. You could do a combination of seed stitch and burrow stitch and crosses, and as long as this is secure is the main thing. You can make it quite eclectic. Now I'll trim that off, but I'll leave a little excess because just in case the fabric sort of moves a little bit, I can always come back and trim that neatly when I'm finished stitching on this side piece. So this is the next one. So we're just going to fold it in half, finger crease. I can hear Fudge meowing. He's had breakfast and he's like, now he wants a lap to sit on or some attention. I'm sure he doesn't like it when I'm doing videos. That there's a bit bodgy. So I'm just going to trim that a little bit. Okay. So once again, we have a doily that I think I will have sit over the binding. So let's just bring our piece up. That's it. And the little doily can sit over. Okay. Let's pin that into position. Now these little pouches, they're quite handy because even if Maddie doesn't put her jewellery in it, which is what's going to hold her piece, her gift, you can use it for sewing, you can use it for any little treasures. It's just a handy little pouch. I've even seen one used as part of an evening outfit, just a little pouch to hold your phone. So they're sort of versatile little things. And of course you can do them any colour, any combination of materials. There we go. So the next stage is that I stitch down that binding. Then I'm going to fold the pouch into position as we had planned, like so. And there's our little lid coming down, our top. And then the button is ready here for the binding to go around that we'll use, or the ribbon that we'll use to secure it. So the next actual stage, I'll just show you, because I might go ahead and actually stitch it so that once I sort of pick up the needle, I'm on my way to finishing it. So I'm just going to grab this here and measure how big this bit needs to be. So they are big enough, these pieces. So 1 1/4 once again. Oh, these scissors, hopeless, blunt. They're Tim Holtz scissors and they're good for paper, but fabric, nope. Okay. So my next little piece, just going to rip that down to size. So as you can see, it's a really simple little bag. I was trying to remember where I saw this, because I'm sure I've seen it somewhere. And last night I was thinking about it, and I think I saw this first of all with Rachel from Roxy Creations. It'd be a couple years ago now, and I'm pretty sure she made a similar style of pouch, and she put a journal in it. And her binding, this is what made me think about Rachel, is her binding, she used different coloured pieces of fabrics, and all of these pieces were about that big. So all around the edge was different colours in different size, pieces. Some were long, some were a little bit shorter, and she just kept laying them over each other, all these different coloured ones to do this stage. And her fabric, she didn't do all doilies like me. She did torn pieces of fabric, and she stamped some fabrics to complete her little pouch. So if you did want to see another style of pouch, I'd be pretty confident you could go and have a look at Rachel from Roxy Creations videos, and you would see some fabric made items, and in amongst it, I'm sure this little pouch is there, if not something similar. There's heaps of videos out there. If you go looking, you'll come across something that'll give you a few hints and ideas. But I've always made them in this style with doilies, because I really do love my crocheted doilies. So all I'm doing now is just showing you how the side piece would be attached once you've done those first two pieces. So you fold up the bottom, and then once again pin it down. Any doilies that you want to come over the edge, you can. And I'll just turn it over just to check the other side. There's a doily that could come up and over, so I will put a pin there as well. I'm going to leave it pinned even though I haven't stitched the other side, because I can always unpin it to get in there and stitch the first piece down. But this at least will show you where I'm heading with it. I like how the doilies go over the edge of the binding. It sort of breaks that sharpness of the binding. Okay, so that's one side done, and of course you would then do the other side. Let's grab another piece. I just want to cut it to size, and then I might leave you. I'll go and stitch these bindings on. And then what is next? Securing the pouch closed. So that one will go there. And of course, fold it in half, crease it, and then pin it into position. But I won't do that because I'm sort of getting ahead of myself here by not stitching those first two down. But you get the general idea. Now, to secure your little pouch, I just used a little piece of seam binding. So I'll have to go for a little hunt and see what I can find in the way of a snippet to go around the button. On this particular button, I stitched two buttons on top of each other. Can you see that? Just to make a little feature. I haven't this time. I've just got the one, but I might go looking for, I've just got a pile of those buttons left here. I might have a look at that and secure. Yeah, I will. I'll stitch that little floral button on top of the one I've already put there, just to add a little extra detail. And then find the binding. Now, what I did last time securing the binding to the top flap is I just found a little piece of lace to put here so that it sort of secured the seam binding underneath it. So I'll probably use a little doily bit like that, find some binding and stitch that into position as well. So I think that is it at this stage. I'll go away, do a little bit more stitching, and when I come back, it should be completed. Okay, see you all soon. Bye. Hello everyone, I'm back and my Maddison pouch is finished. So I ended up doing 2 lines of stitching around the binding on the edge of the little pouch. I did think about doing 3, but I sort of liked the way the 2 finished off the piece, so I just did the 2. What else did I do? I ended up putting the extra button on top of the main button that I'm using to secure the pouch closed. I found a trim in my stash, just cut off a little piece. It's probably about, I'm going to say 4 inches, 5 inches, and I have put a little knot in the end, so probably 5.5 inches. Put a little bit of glue on the end there so it doesn't fray, and I attached the Scrappy butterfly on the top pocket there, of the top of the pocket is what I'm trying to say. So when you open it up, I used a motif to secure the trim down inside the flap so that that's nice and secure, and of course the fabric is inside. So my little pouch is complete. I can now slide in the little gift for Maddison. It's a pendant, but I won't say too much just in case it spoils the surprise. And I can now wind that around that button and it's nice and secure, ready to give to Maddison. So that's it for my video. I wish Maddison all the best. She's 21. We're celebrating that tonight, and also a bon voyage. As I mentioned, she's now a trained ambulance medic, and unfortunately we just don't have enough positions for all of the new graduates in Australia. We need more hospitals, we need more trucks, just to give all these young people positions. So we do lose quite a few to overseas hospitals, which I guess in the big scheme of things, that's okay. Great experience for Maddison. It's a journey of a lifetime. She's going to have a ball. They're very lucky to be getting her. And unfortunately, we miss out in Australia, but there's our gift to you, the UK. Here she comes. And I can now visit someone in the UK and bum a bed. So if you're listening to this, Maddie, we're coming. I know your mum mentioned that June next year there'll be a family trip, so I might just have to tag along. So I will leave the video there, wishing Maddison all the best. Pop a comment in the bottom wishing Maddie all the best too. I'm sure she'll be tickled to read any comments that come through when she watches this video after her party and sees how we put together the little Maddie doily pouch for her little gift. Okay, I'm going to stop rambling and I've got a party to go to. See you later, everyone. Bye.